What's up guys, welcome to another video of the MD Journey. My name is Laksh. In this video, we're going to talk about how to regain your motivation in medical school. So we've all been there where we've had a week, a month, hopefully not a year, but where your motivation, your drive in medical school is just not there. It could be tough classes, not happy with your grades, stress in the family, not getting enough sleep. These are all valid stressors that when you combine it with medical school, your motivation could definitely take a hit. So in this video, I'm going to give you my top 6 ways to regain your motivation whenever you feel like you're in a slump. But before we get to the tips, it's intro time. So ask yourself if this has ever happened to you. You're finding yourself waking up tired, you're not excited to go to class for your rotation, you're not as interested in the topics. If you had it your way, you would just stay in bed all day. That excited medical student that started on day 1 is nowhere to be found. So how do you get that student back? So tip number 1. Ask yourself why you're going into medicine in the first place. All of us had to do a personal statement to get to this point. We try to convince somebody with that 1-page essay that being a doctor is what we were meant to do. As soon as we finish that essay in our interviews, sometimes we forget about those motivations. So whenever you feel that you're in a slump, those are perfect opportunities to reflect back on what led you to go to medical school in the first place. Before you even applied, you knew medical school was going to be hard. You knew you would be studying long hours, and you knew you would have days where you'd be stressed out. But when you were writing that personal statement, you had a reason, you had a why, where all of that didn't matter. So look back on your motivations of why you went into medical school. If you have your personal statement on file or on your laptop, take a look at it and read it. See what motivated you during the application cycle and see if you can reinvigorate yourself with that motivation again. So tip number 2, take a step back. One of the biggest mistakes I notice my peers and other medical students make is that they try to schedule their life into medical school instead of scheduling medical school into their life. Now I get it, medical school is busy. There's going to be components of your life that you're going to have to squeeze and minimize. But those key components, those key hobbies, those key passions, you should still have enough time to enjoy those. In a previous video, I talk about how to manage your time in medical school. One of my biggest tips in that video is to schedule your fun first. Link to the video is in the description, but the video is saying that just because you're a medical student doesn't mean you don't get to enjoy the old aspects of your life. In fact, you can argue that those aspects are now more important than ever. So if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling down, sometimes you just have to stop thinking about being a medical student. Think about what really gets you excited. That can simply be reading, enjoying time with non-medical school friends, your family, watching TV, cooking, doing some chores. But sometimes the best thing to do when you're feeling down in medical school is to just take a step away. So tip number 3, remember your patients. So this is kind of similar to the first tip where I talk about looking back at your motivations and your personal statement, but I like to use a different perspective. If you're ever in a class where you're just not enjoying yourself because the class is either boring or it's difficult, try to imagine if a patient was relying on you to know that information. You may not enjoy biochem, you may not enjoy micro, you may not enjoy pharm. Some of the courses during your first and second year will just cause you to lose motivation. But you can keep a good amount of it if you try to imagine your patient relying on you to know that information. Because the ultimate goal for all of us is that regardless of what specialty we choose, that we're the best physicians for our patients. I found this sometimes to be the easiest thing to get back on track, especially if I don't have time to step away like the previous tip. Just think about those patients that you're going to one day take care of. Tip number 4. Take care of yourself. It's kind of ironic that we're in a field where we care for others, but sometimes we forget to care for ourselves. I know where I hear a lot of my classmates sometimes joke how long it's been since they last been in the gym. That's not something really you should be joking about. You need to stay on top of your health regardless of what form of fitness you choose. This is also true for what you eat. Many students are too reliant on cafeteria food and eating out because they think they don't have enough time to cook for themselves. But then they're confused on why they just kind of feel sluggish or they're tired. And obviously make sure you get your sleep. Find how much sleep you need and make sure you coordinate your day to where you're sleeping on time and thus waking up on time as well. So make sure you take care of yourself before you commit to a career where you're taking care of others. Tip number 5. Rely on your support system. There's not one medical student, including myself, that's gotten to this point by themselves. We've all had some type of support system. It could be our family, our significant others, our friends, our mentors and teachers, but all of us have gotten to this point because of the support of others. So why not, during your lowest of days, go back to those same individuals? They're not going to think less of you just because you're having a rough week or a rough month. And make sure that you're turning to your support system even if your motivation is at an all-time high. For example, I try to schedule a Skype call back home every single night. Some days it's a 20-minute conversation, some days it's a 2-minute conversation. But regardless of the time spent, I make sure that I keep my family a part of my life every day. So this way, if I notice myself feeling down or just lacking motivation, I can turn to my loved ones on a daily basis. Those short conversations are sometimes all that I need to regain the drive the next day. Final tip number 6, go play doctor. Now, no, I don't mean go back to your toy stethoscope and listen to the hearts of your families. I'm talking about using your real stethoscope and going to help people in the community. Here at my institution, there are plenty of free clinics around the city. Each of these clinics are requiring on the help of volunteers like medical students to see patients. Now, if you're a first or second year medical student, these experiences are perfect for you. You're more likely than not to get very acute and very simple problems. But this isn't about treating an earache or a sore throat or some back pain. When you go out to the community and you help these real patients, you quickly realize why you're doing this. As future physicians, we have the privilege where we can walk into the room and the patients, more often than not, put their full trust in us. I can't think of many other professions that allow you to do that. So if you find yourself in a slump, go out into the community and help the individuals that you will be as a full-fledged doctor. So hope you enjoyed those 6 tips on how to regain your motivation in medical school. Losing motivation in medical school is completely normal. You shouldn't feel bad about it. It's just important to know what steps you can take to get back on track. Now I want to hear from you. Comment below and let me know what strategies and techniques that you use whenever you find yourself lacking motivation in medical school. Now, like most of these videos, there's a corresponding blog post, so if you want to read my post about regaining your motivation in medical school, the link's in the description below. But thank you guys so much for watching. Making these videos has been a lot of fun. Please support the channel by liking and sharing, and definitely subscribing. Help me help as many medical students as possible by growing this channel. But hope you enjoy those tips. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, my friends.